Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. So, I am now to the point where I am going to use the Amelie Scott designs to quilt my table runner that I made at a class a couple weeks ago. It's just a small little table runner. Amelie Scott Designs has a system that you can use to quilt using your embroidery machine. And it's really a neat system. If you want to see more about this or see some other techniques on things that I have done, you can go on my channel and go to playlists and you can see Amelie Scott Designs. Look for that and there's a bunch of videos under there. I have chosen a design from expansion pack 6, which has some pretty feathers in it, and I'm going to use that to quilt this. There are a couple things you need to keep in mind when you're doing this. Unlike quilting on a domestic sewing machine, you need to make sure that you have enough fabric or backing or something to be able to hoop with, okay? Where this is not quite half of a yard wide, either way, I do have an entire yard of backing, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the backing without cutting the backing. I have 1 yard and I'm not going to cut it. For the batting, this is a great use of scraps. I've got threads everywhere. Another thing you'll want to consider doing is purchasing is known as a monster snap hoop, and these are made by Designs and Machine Embroidery. These hoops are absolutely fabulous when it comes to having to re-hoop your project. When you're quilting in the hoop, with a traditional hoop, you have to recess that inner ring down inside the outer ring, and your quilt is going to go up and over and down through and up and over and down through. And every time you need to reposition the quilt, you have to remove the hoop from the machine, and then you have to unhoop it, move it around, rehoop it. What if it's wonky? You gotta fiddle with it. It'll make you crazy, okay? It really will make you crazy. So, Designs and Machine Embroidery, I will put a link below. They have tons of these hoops that are great for working with all of your machines. Let's talk about the cost of these things. They are not cheap. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They are not cheap. They are on special right now, which is rare. Are they on sale or we just have free shipping? I'll have to double check that. I'll put that up here, what the deal is, and I'll be sure to give you the link below. If you make a quilt, let's say you make a nice size, throw quilt or even up to a twin, and you take it to a long armor, what the long armor is going to charge you, that's probably about what this is going to cost you. Once you take care of it that one time, it has paid for itself. I'm a firm believer in that. I highly encourage you to get one of these, because if you have decided that you're not going to get a long arm and your domestic machine quilting skills are lacking, then it is worth every penny for your wonderful little hobby. The designs in Amelie Scott Designs come in 3 different sizes. It comes in a small, a medium, and a large. And the smallest, you cannot use this in a hoop that is 5x7. You have to use a machine that has a larger hoop. I chose the 5x9 design. You have to stitch out your templates. There is an A and a B. I need my light. Let me get it. That's better. Hi, this is Becky. No. So here's template A. See? And it starts right here and it ends right here. And it's going to match up with template B, and it's going to look something like this. So that's how we're going to make all that work. Let's get busy. You want to make sure everything is flat so that it can be as flat as possible in the hoop. Now, let's talk about basting. Some of you may not like spray basting. If you're going to do this method of quilting, spray basting is your absolute best method. You can pin baste, but I don't recommend it. The reason is when you pin baste, and you go every fist or whatever and you pin baste, you do create little bubbles and ripples in the fabric. When you are machine quilting by hand, it's easy for you to take the pin out and then smooth it down and get it taut and then do what you're going to do. You really don't have that timing opportunity when you are doing this in the embroidery machine. You also run the risk of accidentally overlooking a pin. You might overlook it, especially if you have a busy print. Your needle will hit it and you could, at the very least, break a needle, and at the worst, you'll damage your machine. I do not recommend pin basting doing this method. To me, better safe than sorry. All right, so let me show you how I'm going to do this. This big blue mat I have right here, this is Designs Machine Embroidery Hoop Mat. This thing is absolutely fabulous. I love it because my hoop does not skate across my table and take off on me as I'm trying to get it all put together. So I'm going to turn it like this because my hoop is kind of long. This is the 9.5 by 14, all right? I got this one, it goes on my Quattro. My Luminaire, she went to All Brands for some love. I think she had a burr. Poor thing, she was shredding my thread. I'm not happy. So anyway, so I've got this, and let me show you what I'm going to do. All right, so you want to make sure that when you get ready to do your templates, there is math involved with the Amelie Scott design system, and I'm not going to go into it because it's proprietary to her, so you'd have to get the book to learn how to do that. But what I do like to do is to audition where the templates are going to go, all right? So I have template A. It looks like this is the center of my top right here. So when I trim these, I trim them to within 1/4 of an inch on all sides of the stitch, last stitch. So let's say I did it like this, and I've got a little bit that's hanging off the top up here. That's okay, not a big deal. I've got a little, let's see, and I'm going to put this one right here. This is B. Whoops, I wanted that right side. When I print my templates, I do put crosshairs on them with a pencil, and then I put the letter on there so I know which way is up and which one is which. So it looks like this is going to fit just fine. Let me show you guys here. Okay, this is going to fit just fine here and here. So the Amelie Scott Designs comes with 3 different sizes of designs, and this is the small, the 5 by 9. I felt like the medium and the large was going to be too big of a scale for this small project. If this is A, then B is going to go right here, and then A is going to go right here, and now you can tell I am off this middle stitch out here. You don't have to. I mean, I could stop it when it gets, you know, but I'll probably just let it go. And then I might need to also do one more hooping, and I will advance the thread so it just does this little piece down here. Okay? So that looks like that's going to work. I had already checked to see if maybe I wanted to do it this way. You always want to start in the middle. And when you do 1/4 of an inch away from the last thread, that gives you a 1/2 inch in between pattern repeats. And it looks like that's really pretty, and you really can't tell. So I could do it like this, and I could do it like that, and that would be fine. But if I start this one right here, okay, in the middle, and I go right here like this and move to the top, now I have just 1 inch left, and that's going to be a whole lot more embroidery really off the project than what I need. So I mean, it doesn't matter, but I think this way is probably best, to move this direction on the project. My A piece, I know I want to put that right there. So what I'm going to do is fold it in half, all right? I know this is the center line, and I'm going to take my little snowman for my precise positioning system, and I'm just going to put him right there And that's going to give me a real good starting point for where I want to start my first pass of the A design.